Oh my god. Oh my god. We're cooked. Hey there. Welcome. I hope you're ready for a little adventure. But before I tell you the story about this car, you should know that I have no idea what I'm doing. As it relates to building cars or making YouTube videos, I'm learning as I go. So bear with me. Now, let me tell you about this car. It's a 1960 Corvette, which is cool, but even cooler than that is that it's been in my family since it was new. It belonged to my grandpa from the early 60s up until the point he passed away in 2008, and it's been sitting ever since. It hasn't run in 18 or 19 years, and as you can see, it wasn't exactly a garage queen. And it also doesn't have that many miles on it. So how did it end up looking like this? Well, my grandpa let it sit outside in his driveway for decades, and it was only after his passing that my dad put this car in the garage where it sat for the next 17 years. But now, I got my hands on it, and I'm gonna get it running and take you along for the ride. And speaking of rides, I've only been in this car one time when I was 4 years old. I've spent my whole life walking by it, wishing I could experience it again. And now that I'm 23 years old, I'll be damned if I don't get it running. Now, quick side note, I'm from the future and I've experienced everything you're going to see in this video. So I can confidently tell you that the guy in this photo has no idea the amount of work this car is going to take. So, let's get started. This is what the interior looked like when I got the car. Just trashed. The carpet was disgusting. I didn't film myself pulling it out because I was more focused on not getting aerated mold and rodent piss in my lungs. But this is what was left after I did pull the carpet out. It's just a bunch of glue and foam backing that was in there, and it all has to be removed before I put new carpet in it. And I spent days scraping and scrubbing this tub until it was squeaky clean. Here's a few seconds of me doing that now, but believe me, I was in here for a long time. Next, I had to remove the fuel tank, and it sits right behind you, which is really cool. So this tank was super rusty and had fuel from 2008 still sitting in it, and I needed to get that out. And my method of choosing was industrial strength vinegar. And this has worked for me in the past on smaller tanks, but it didn't work quite as well this time. Probably due to the fact that I forgot about it. Well, unfortunately I let this sit outside with vinegar in it to de-rust it for a little bit too long, and that's what we're working with now. I have never seen this happen before. This metal was solid when I left it, and then now it feels like paper. Look at it. I guess that's what I get for trying to save a couple bucks. Either way, with the tank being baffled, it was impossible to get the vinegar all the way around in there, and I was going to have to buy a new one anyways. Originally, I wanted to get this car running and driving in the condition that my grandpa last drove it in, and to kind of keep it as a time capsule. I planned to keep the 283 and the 3-speed in it, and just replace things like hoses, fuel lines, brake lines, etc. I was foolishly optimistic with how much work I thought she would need, and I was about to find out something that would make my heart hit the floor. Oh my god. Oh, we're cooked. We're cooked. Oh my god. Yep, that was inside the radiator hose, so to take my mind off of that, I decided I'd pull some more stuff out of this engine bay. There goes a fan shroud. Out comes the radiator. Now this is what it looked like. Like it was sitting at the bottom of a lake. Completely toast, but I knew I was going to have to get a new one of those anyways. Ew. And here's the core support, rotted out entirely. Not surprising, and there's the inside of the thermostat. What a shame. Judging from our reaction on how this goes, you will know what the inside of this motor looks like. My hope is that whatever's on top of this thermostat did not get inside the motor. Alright, that's not promising at all. Let's see the water pump. my god. Yeah. Wow. I don't even know what to say. I do. You're f***ed and not driving this car anytime soon. And definitely not with that 283. You see that look on my face? That's denial. I'm doing everything I can to avoid coming to terms with one thing. Motor's got to come out. I know that. We will pull the motor out tomorrow. All right, for me it's a new day. This is pull engine day. I'm doing it with my buddy Len. These are his legs. Anyways, drive shaft's disconnected. Len's working on disconnecting the transmission. I've unhooked most of the wires to the motor. And we're gonna work on pulling it pretty soon. But not before we complete a side quest. Let's see if a brother knows how to put together an engine stand. Here's a hint. I don't. I do. Ow. It's like Legos for adults. Okay. We're gonna drain this transmission and hopefully something comes out. Tally ho. Oh, it looks nice. Very cool. Hey, that's good news. I'm not gonna run this transmission anyways. It's getting a 5-speed, cry about it. But it's nice to know that there's no metal in it and it's see-through. That's incredible. I think that might be the first bit of good news I've had on this car. I kind of want to drink it. It looks like maple syrup. You got there, a half inch?
Yeah.
I got a half inch, but the only one I know is in my pants.
Probably more hand tools.
Oh!
We're out.
I just came, sorry. Alright, it's about to rock.
Oh, redundancy. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Are you feeling what I'm feeling? Nervous?
Not my car.
Yeah, it's not your car.
Okay, stop just for a second.
Yes, sir.
Let me see if I can take the jack out of the tranny and then we can roll the car this way. Because that's not going to come out your garage door.
What if we just drag the engine over the side of the fender? Oh, we can't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Roll the car.
Wait, but the engine hoist is in between the front wheels. A pickle. I'll put some tools away. Maybe it doesn't need to come all the way out. Like maybe we can pull this back, push the car back a couple more inches, and get the clearance that we need. Almost. Drain plug. Out. Oh. Okay. Oh my god, it's so touchy. Okay. We can lower down as soon as we get over the front of the car. Okay. And needs a bit further. All right. Coming down?
Yeah.
Just falls. I'm so scared, dude. Oh, yeah.
I think that's all we need.
Okay. Let's throw it on the engine stand. Oh, I need to pull the bell housing for that. We did it.
Now what?
You
want to do sweep the garage floor?
I want to eat pizza. That's what I want to do.
That's in the garage floor for your mom.
Well, we got the engine.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. I've never pulled an engine before. You've only done 30, so. Cool. I guess secure that to an engine stand and
Yeah.
sweep the garage floor.
To set that on.
Well, I took a break for pizza. Motor's out. I got it on the engine stand, so I should be able to disconnect the engine hoist. Oh, before I do, you should see this. Look how we, 3 out of the 4 of these are secure. But look at this guy right here. That is just as sketchy as it looks. We lifted the motor out. With that John right there. Obviously, or at least I think it's obvious, being that the inside of this thing looks like the Titanic, I'm not going to run this motor in this car in the beginning, but I do want to rebuild it. So if you are somebody, or you know somebody in the San Diego area who can teach me how to rebuild a small block Chevy, I'm interested. So drop a comment, and hopefully we can work that out. In the meantime, I have an Ed Hale 350 that I'm going to put in this car, and you're in one of 2 boats right now. You're either thinking, oh cool, the Corvette's gonna get a new motor. Or you're thinking, oh no, he's gonna put a 350 in his original Corvette. If you're that person, then I got a gift for you. Yeah baby, you're gonna need them for a lot of this build. I never really saw eye to eye with the purists because I don't like a slow boring shit. But I do like cool fast shit. Anyways, I got another special guest to introduce you to. Hey chat, welcome back to the vlog. Anyways, I just spent hours under the, unfortunately hours, under the dash, removing all the nuts for the windshield, which sucked balls. And now I'm gonna get my girlfriend, say hi Shyler,
Hey.
to help me remove the windshield. Okay. Let's get started.
Is it tracking me?
You see it?
It is. Aw.
It's tracking you. 3, 2, 1, up. Carefully. Carefully. Easy. Look behind you. There's a motorcycle there.
Okay, I'm looking.
You can't walk on that side of the motorcycle, you silly goose. Okay. Good. At the same time. Easy. That is so scary.
We did it. We did it. We did it.
Yeah. And that's enough of that. Okay, I pulled the windshield out, obviously because I needed to re-weather strip it, and it took a butt-puckering amount of force to get this frame to loosen up and pull off the glass without breaking it. But it really wasn't that simple. I did a lot of research in order to do this properly and not break the glass, and as you can see, it requires very specialized tools and a surgical level of precision. Seriously though, this made me sweat a few times. There's a lot of moving pieces, and just separating these 2 pieces for the header trim took me hours. And I read up on it beforehand, and it still took me a long time. That's just kind of the repeating pattern of working on this car and working on old cars in general, is that nothing is ever as simple as you expect it to be or as it's supposed to be. But with a lot of time and much more patience, it can be done, just like anything. The question you have to ask yourself though is it worth the time and the headache? I say that because I asked my dad about this job before I did it, because he restored a C1 Corvette when he was in college, and he told me to send it out. Don't bother trying to weather strip it yourself, just pay someone else to do it. And I thought, well, that's kind of a lame attitude, right? I want to learn how to do this stuff. I want to do everything to this car so I can look back at the end and say, I did that. And so I decided to take this on myself. And in the end, I'm glad I did. It challenged me enough to make me curse and regret my decisions, but it was doable with a reasonable amount of time, effort, and patience. So would I do it again? Yeah. I think I'd go much faster and be way more efficient the second time now that I got the process down. I may not be excited to do it again, but then again, not everything about working on cars is exciting. The upside, though, is that you get to do it with your friends. So far, you've met my buddy Len, who's helped me out a ton, not only with this car, but with a bunch of stuff. He's a great dude. Then you met my super mega swole buff mommy. Why do I do this? And this is my buddy Colby. He helped me put the windshield back in the car. So yes, this hobby is frustrating and hair-pulling at times, but if you're lucky like me, you get to work through problems and find creative solutions with people you care about. And in the end, that's really what it's all about, isn't it? The friends you make along the way. Alright, I'm gonna shut up before I throw up and let you watch the rest of the video. We did it! Fucking weather stripped the windshield, let's go. That was hard.
These aren't all the way down. Just get the hammer out.
What the Sigma? Oh my god, dude, we're fucking winning. We're restoring a Corvette.
We?
Oh, it's following me now. Stop looking at me. Looking at me.
Square up, bro.
You want some? Alright, now I need to strip the rest of the interior so I can prep it before I put the new dash pad in. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice that there's no windshield in the car. I thought I'd just put one in. This was actually filmed before I put the new windshield in because the dash needs to happen first, but I already edited that part of the video and I'm not going back. And you can see all the glue residue on the dash. I needed to get rid of all that before I started sanding, otherwise it would just gum up the sandpaper. And it's important not to have a fan going or to wear a respirator when you're sanding fiberglass because you want your lungs to build up a tolerance to the small glass fibers. Next, I have to pull the gauges out, and it's at this point that I'm thinking, what did I get myself into? It doesn't even really look like a car anymore, it almost looks more like a boat. But if you're going to pull apart wires and go behind your dash, make sure you label things with masking tape or any method of your choosing so that you don't forget where things go back together. The last thing you want is to get to reassembly and then completely forget where everything goes. Ask me how I know. Now the time has come for me to put the dash pad back in the car. This is dreaded by anybody who's done this before. I haven't done it before. I don't know any better. I trimmed it to the best of my ability. When they send you the dash pads, they send them with a bunch of extra foam and vinyl that you gotta trim off. And God forbid you make one slip of that razor blade, it's going to cost you. So, I think I did it passably. We're going to find out. Alright, stick with me. You are about to watch me struggle for the better part of probably 30 minutes. It'll be 20 seconds for you, but here we go. So it took me a couple days of trimming and test fitting to get the pad to fit properly. And believe me, I took my time and I did my research. I was careful and cautious because one slip of that blade and it's all over. And I was not about to redo this whole dash. Alright, quick update. I came this close to completely f***ing this pad. The slit that I cut for this cove part is too wide. I've left just barely enough vinyl for this to clamp on and hold it. If you are going to install a C1 Corvette dash pad, make sure the slit that you cut for this is just wide enough for the 3 studs to go in. And read a lot. We got very lucky that my incompetence did not just cost me $600. So before I attempted this, I talked to my dad about it, and he once again told me to have it professionally done, to send the car out. Lame, I'm gonna do it myself. So I did, and I succeeded by the skin of my teeth. So he was almost right this time. And now the gauge cluster goes back in, but while it was out, I converted the tach to electronic so I could get rid of the generator. Hey, got the gauge cluster in. And the cove, we're making big moves, baby. I'm gonna put the rear view mirror in. I don't like the way that it's pushing into the dash pad, so I'm going to add a spacer somehow. Made a spacer to go under the pad so that it doesn't squish the pad. And bink! just like that. I decided to install sound deadener or hush mat in this car because they're notorious for making a lot of road noise. I guess the fiberglass kind of acts like a drum head and transmits all the tire noise and the road frequencies through into the cabin. But also, the exhaust runs right under the floorboards, and it gets the floor real hot. And a hush mat supposedly has pretty good heat insulating properties, so I thought I'd put that in there. Next up is carpet. And you may be wondering why I'm putting green carpet in my Corvette, and that's because it is the original color. If you look at the bottom of the door cards, you'll see that same green carpet. And I hate it, so I switched it for black. Yeah, that's much better if you ask me. Okay, now I'm gonna rebuild the seats. And yet again, I asked my dad about the job, and you'll never guess what he said. He said, "Nico, send it out, have it professionally done by someone who knows what they're doing, because this job sucks." I said, "Dad, that's like mega lame. I'm gonna do it myself because I can do anything." And guess what? I am a stupid because he was absolutely right, and this job sucked. If I could go back and remake that decision, I would send these out and have them professionally done, because I've never struggled with any one task more in my entire life. And there's a few reasons for that. The first is this. These seats are held together with little pieces of metal called hog rings, and there are hundreds of them. You have to cut them or bend them out of place to disassemble the seats, and there are a lot of different pieces to these seats. Naturally, that makes reassembly challenging because every single one of these hog rings has to be placed perfectly. But I'm smart, so I took lots of pictures and marked the position of every single one, so I knew exactly where they went when it came time to put it back together. You see, I knew that when I installed the seat covers, which is the last step, that there was zero margin for error. If anything was out of place, the seat covers would show it, and it would look like poop. So, I was meticulous and precise from the very beginning because I wanted this to be perfect, just like everything else I do. My goal is always the same. Now, I'm going to drop a wisdom bomb on you, and it's amazing you're getting this for free. Perfection does not exist, except for my girlfriend, because she thinks that I'm perfect. Alright, I'm getting sidetracked. What I'm saying is, shit goes sideways despite your best efforts, and it sure went sideways with these seats. Specifically with the seat covers. Trying to hog ring these covers was almost impossible. I didn't think I'd be able to do it. I spent 40 hours on my hands and knees putting these seats together, and 30 of those hours were spent just on these seat covers. I've never had my patience tested more in my life. And here's why. The driver's seat and passenger seat are slightly different in this car, which means the seat covers are also slightly different. Now I ordered them from Al Nock Interiors, and they came labeled driver and passenger, but they were labeled backwards, and I only found that out after spending hours installing them and unfortunately ripping one of them. So I contacted Al Nock Interiors, told them that one of their seamstresses had mislabeled my seat covers, and they refused to send me a new one or even give me a partial refund. Thank you, Al Nock Interiors. You're the best. In fact, you get a hip hip hooray. Alright, I gotta say, after doing this, I have the utmost respect for upholstery guys. I don't know what they get paid, but I can tell you that it's not enough. And if there are upholsterers watching this video, they're probably cringing at their screens right now because I so clearly have no idea what I'm doing. But there's a reason for that too. Al Nock charges $45 for the video installation tutorial for these seat covers. Right off. You just earned yourself another hip hip hooray. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't put you through that again. And I wouldn't put myself through this again either. I wish I would have listened to my dad. If I had $1 for every time I should have listened to my dad, I could buy 100 video tutorials from Al Nock. Alright, we're nearing the end, and this has been quite the little journey for me, because I've never done any interior work before. I'm pretty mean with a wrench, not so much with hog ring pliers. Anyways, this seat cushion is just about finished. Don't worry about the wrinkles. Most of them come out with the final steaming. And this is what that cushion looks like once that steaming's done. And of course, I had to dye it to match the original interior. And then, I did the whole process 3 more times for the rest of the seat cushions. Now let me refresh your memory. This is what the interior looked like when I started. Are you ready? And this is what it looks like now. Oh my god, he's too good. Oh shoot, man, he can do it all. He can do it all. I cannot tell you how happy I am that I finished just this small part of the build. Man, I'll tell you, the roller coaster of emotions, the setbacks, the challenges, the lessons learned, and the eventual triumph is what lights my fire and keeps me going, not only with this, but with anything I do. I love the process of learning and being served the occasional slice of humble pie, man. It's tough to swallow sometimes, but it's good for you. Anyways, thanks for sticking with me through this first video. This is an expensive and time-consuming process, and I've got a lot of thinking, planning, buying, and building to do before the next video comes out. So while I can't promise you regular uploads, I can promise you that this car will be finished, and I will drive it. Thanks for watching.